Welcome to the Airplane Spoon podcast, where I talk about real questions and real stories about feeding children. I'm Sarina Murrell, a feeding therapist and the director of the Airplane Spoon. Every week, I share stories from my feeding therapy practice and talk about the challenges that many families experience with food and meal times. Today's question is, why won't my child eat easy, soft foods like bananas or avocado? You may have heard this before, or maybe you've said it to yourself. Like, it's so soft. It's so easy to eat. It's smooth. Why won't my child eat it? And this is a very common question. And today, I want to share with you something that surprises many parents. Soft foods are not always easy foods. In fact, foods like banana and avocado can be some of the more challenging foods for your child's mouth. So I want to talk to you today about what's going on in the mouth and what that means for your child's oral motor development, for you to think about these kinds of food in a different way and how to support them so that your child can learn to eat these kinds of food. Let me say the question again. Why won't my child eat easy soft foods like banana or avocado? Okay, so the first area I want us to look at is foods that tell the mouth exactly what to do. Think about different types of food. There are liquids, which could be drinks or soup. There are soft foods like banana, avocado. There's purees, which is more like spoon foods. Could be like applesauce. Could be any of these pouch or puree foods for children. There are chewy foods like fruit snacks or raisins or dried fruit. There are crunchy foods like crackers or cookies or even like apples or carrots. So, food can give very clear instructions to the mouth. So, think about crunchy snacks like crackers or toast or carrots or apples. These are teeth foods. When you eat them, your brain knows that your teeth needs to crunch these, to chew these. You can feel it and you can hear it. There's actually a biological reason for this, because why do we like crunchy foods? This tells us that foods might be fresher. Think about like a crunchy lettuce. As opposed to soft and mushy, it might have gone bad. And so we do tend to prefer or get pleasure and enjoyment from crunchy foods, but it also gives it very clear feedback to our mouth about where it is. I can feel it. It's easy to understand. I know it's over here. I can move it over here. It's dry. It's maybe a little bit firm or crumbly, and I can feel it in my mouth. So we know teeth, crunch here. Very clear. Those are teeth foods. And now I want us to think about purees. Purees are middle of the mouth foods. If we think of crunchy foods, our side of the mouth, because we need to use our teeth surfaces, whether that's the front teeth to bite or our side teeth to chew, purees are middle of the mouth. So you put in a spoon, goes on the tongue, close your lips, tongue goes up, back, down, swallow. That's it. They don't require you to break it apart. I just need to kind of push it back, swallow. They go in the middle of the mouth, tongue feels it, pushes it back, down it goes. It's a very specific type of feeding skill. It's a very basic type of feeding skill because it's just front and back. Very simple. I don't have to do a lot with it. I don't need to break it down. It's ready to go. So purees are smooth and predictable. They stay together. They don't crumble. They don't scatter. They're very clear in that way. But now let's think about these soft foods like banana or avocado. So this is where it gets tricky. A lot of times you've heard me talking about these opposite ends, these very big extremes, either or. And the middle is where it's a little bit complicated or tricky. And that's where banana and avocado live. They are not crunchy foods and they are not puree foods. They're in the middle. Now, you can make a banana a puree food if you puree it or mash it up. Avocado, if you mash it up, it's still very thick and kind of like creamy. It's not as smooth, but it could be a puree food if you wanted to put it on the spoon and have it go down. But what happens a lot for children to refuse is they feel that it's soft. So if we have a banana, oops, and oops, I'm going to open up a banana here right now. If I have a banana, this one's already kind of soft. It might be a little bit softer, it might be a little bit firmer, but typically if I put it in my mouth and just try to swallow, it's a little bit too big. So a child is kind of taking that sensation of feeling that it's soft and mushy and keeping it in the middle of the mouth, but then they just pump their tongue to swallow it and then they might gag. And I want to talk to you about this because that is the main reason why these foods are often trickier for children. We don't have a clear instruction on my mouth. Do I chew this or do I swallow it? Where is it supposed to go? Technically, I'm supposed to chew it just a little bit, right? It's kind of like maybe a 2, 3 chew and then down. 1, 2, 3, down. But I need to chew it a little bit. If I just try to chew it down, if I try to swallow it down while I get a bite in my mouth, then what could happen is our protective mechanism in our body when we have too big of a size of food or any kind of object, doesn't have to be food, towards the back of our mouth is that it can trigger a gag. So let's talk about this. Well, a gag, first of all, let me explain the difference in case you don't really know or you want a reminder. It's always great. A gag is in the mouth. A gag is something on the tongue towards the back of the mouth, and that's the brain saying, "Whoo, that's too big to try to swallow. So I need to push it forward." A lot of times with the gag, it's very loud and kind of retchy. The tongue's going to move forward, and a lot of times we might get like redness or kind of squishing up our face to push whatever that is that went towards the back of the mouth out. That doesn't mean that we don't swallow a food that we gag on. Sometimes it goes towards the back, we gag on it, and then we swallow it. But it's a mouth reaction. It's a reflex. It's trying to protect us to say, hey, I don't think we can really swallow that. We shouldn't be swallowing that. We either need to take it out or chew it. And so gag is very natural. Everybody gags. Babies gag at the front of their mouth and they learn to push their gag further and further back. Most of us can get a gag if we kind of brush the center of our tongue towards the back when we're brushing our teeth and we brush in the middle, we might gag. It's okay. It's natural. It's just a brain response that happens as a protective mechanism. It's not choking. Choking is in the throat. Choking is blockage. That has gone down and it's gone the wrong way. And now it's lodged or it's blocking airflow. That's choking. Choking looks very different than gag. Choking is often going to be Instead of it being kind of squished and in and redness, we're going to get really big open and wide and big eyes and big open mouth and probably losing some of the blood flow on our face, kind of like more of a pale whitening of the face, depending on the skin tone of the person. But we're going to see that big openness, and it's mostly going to be quiet, right? Because there's blockage. You're not going to get air. There might be a little tiny bit of air, like, where there's a little bit of air flowing through, but that's the sign of throat choking. And that would need some sort of a external support to get that out. Um, there's lots of different mechanisms for choking, right? CPR, Heimlich maneuver, dislodging. There's different types of systems or mechanisms to try to maybe use a reverse one-way valve vacuum to pull that out. But whoever's helping somebody that's choking should know about choking safety. And what we're talking about here is not choking. We're talking about gag. If you tried to swallow a piece of banana or a chunk of avocado right away without chewing it, you might gag. And often, this is what's happened with the child. They gagged on this piece, not because it's gross. It's because they tried to swallow it without chewing it. And so the avocado or the banana caused this protective mechanism, and that means that children think it's unsafe. And it makes sense because they felt this really scary response. But the piece around this is that the body or the mouth didn't get enough feedback while putting that in their mouth. They didn't know what to do with it. So when food doesn't have a lot of feedback, then we need to think about this to how to increase that mouth feedback to help a child to be able to learn and process this food. Crunchy food gives strong feedback. You can feel it, you can hear it, you can break it. Your mouth know where that is. But banana or avocado, I can't really feel it if I'm chewing it. It just kind of like mushes and it goes everywhere. It's kind of slippery or hard to locate or even control because it just disperses everywhere. And so that lack of feedback can feel scary for a child. And when children feel unsafe around food, they avoid it. It's not because they're picky. It's because they need consistency, predictability, and they're learning. They don't know what to do with it in their mouth. So a couple of strategies to think about these foods and understanding from the oral motor side of this, how do we support children to learn about foods that are a little bit lower profile in terms of how the mouth is registering them is, first of all, we could learn the flavor of these foods without really having to process the texture. You could make it a puree. You could even blend it up, or you could add it to something, like add it to a smoothie or add it to something else that's mashed up so that they can learn the the flavor of the food, and that's not the issue. The flavor is could be accepted and fine. I like the taste of bananas, but I just don't like how they feel in my mouth, or I'm not sure what to do with them in my mouth. So one is first learn the flavor. The second thing is we can change the sensory experience. How do we do that? Well, we can change the sensation of mushy or softness by adding crunchy. You could put sesame seeds on avocado and now it's crunchy. You could even put like mashed up potato chips. Or this is like, why we dip a chip in avocado, like a guacamole. The chip gives a lot of feedback. So I can have the guacamole on the chip and learn how to eat avocados that way. A lot of times kids don't like mixed textures, like crunchy and smooth. They don't want it together. So that might not be accepted right away, but you can add it on the piece itself. If you have a fork of a soft piece of avocado and you put sesame seeds or chia seeds or crushed up chips on it or something, I'm still just eating the chunk of avocado and it's got crunchy on it. You could also put, you could put it on toast or chips, like I said. With banana, you could maybe add like a freeze dried strawberry to it. Um, or, chia seeds could work for banana too. You could add maybe granola on around it. So it's not like you're mashing up banana in the granola. It's like I have a piece of banana and then I might have some granola around it. And that's going to help me to chew it because I can feel that granola is crunchy and I need to chew it. Another thing you could do is you could change the flavor and make it bigger so you can sense it better. So, for example, for bananas, you could put cinnamon on it, and that's going to create a bigger input of flavor. Or for avocado, maybe you could squeeze some lemon drops on it, and that's going to change the flavor to be able to sense it better and know where it is in your mouth. You could also change the temperature. If you put the avocado in the fridge, where'd my avocado go? Oh, here it is. If you put the avocado in the fridge, now cold avocado is going to be easier to sense than room temperature avocado because my mouth is already warm. Same with banana. We don't typically tend to put bananas in the fridge. You could. You get a little bit brown on the outside, but the inside's just fine. That doesn't change really the inside. If you want to save bananas that way, it's a great tip. Or you could put it in the freezer and you could freeze bananas. These are really great ideas because bananas don't freeze solid like a strawberry. It's like a hunk of ice. It's kind of like just a little bit crispy, like kind of like ice shards, and it's firmer. And so that can help to chew it and to feel the banana in the mouth and the coldness. And so that helps me to chew it better. And maybe I like bananas that way. But the biggest thing here is if you're thinking about food textures, think about the mouth. Think about what might be going on in your child and how can we help to support that. But the other pieces is just don't give up. Continue to model eating it in front of them because they're going to see you and then that's going to create a good social experience for them to want to try to imitate that. You could offer it without much expectation, just like you're eating your own banana, right? My banana here. You want to bite? And you, oops, dropped it. And you could offer it to them. And if they don't want to bite, okay. No big deal. They're still learning it, but continue to expose them. So if your child refuses these kinds of foods, like banana avocado, remember, these are middle foods, not crunchy, not puree, and that middle space can feel confusing, slippery, unpredictable. And your child might need more feedback, more practice, more time, not pressure, but supportive learning. Learning to eat is not just about offering, it's about helping the mouth understand what to do. That's what I have for you for today's podcast. Thank you for joining me on the Airplane Spoon podcast. Like you know, feeding challenges can feel overwhelming for families, but you're not alone. Many children need time, support, and positive experiences with food as they learn to eat. Remember, you're doing an amazing job supporting your child on this feeding journey. You've got this. Love, enjoy, and eat.